Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the greatest hot chicken in the world. Making the install live with Greg Cosell and Brian Callahan possible is Hattie B's Hot Chicken. We're looking forward to having Hattie B's a part of the fun. I don't know what's going to be more tempting for me to get into during the intermissions, the Milagro Tequila or the Hattie B's Hot Chicken.
Oh, no. You're a working lad. No drinking for you on the job. As for me, though, consider me a duck. I'm going to swim to the bottom and drink my way up.
I can't have a cocktail while I talk some shop?
No.
Isn't that how these things are supposed to be? It's supposed to be relaxed. It's supposed to be a communal atmosphere. I don't want to be some stiff up there drinking, bottled water while everybody is neck deep in tequila.
Too late. You're already a stiff up there drinking bottled water while everyone else is drinking tequila.
I told you this morning I paid $22 for a Fiji. And
that is
I'm very upset
egregious.
It's the first time, Robert, I've had sticker shock.
I think I'd return it.
I didn't bother to look. I just went, I was at a coffee shop this morning getting ready for the show. I had a meeting. And then I wanted a bottled water on the way out the door, and I put the Fiji bottled water up there, and she said $22, and I said, who?
Yeah, there's only one thing broker than complaining about how expensive something is, and that's putting it back. Being like, oh, never mind.
Oh, I would never.
I'll get a Dasani.
I would never. I would rather... Oh, my God. I would rather you take me out back and shoot me than me admit that I wouldn't be able to buy something.
God, dude. There are things that I wouldn't pay $22 for a hamburger, let alone a daggum bottle of water. But you're better than I am about that kind of stuff.
Like I said, I did not do it on purpose, but it was shocking nonetheless. We're going to get into some draft talk. We're going to take a look at how the Titans rookie draft class stacks up against the rest of the AFC South, an idea I stole directly from the A to Z Sports Morning Show, so I appreciate them helping us move the creative process along a little bit. We're also going to get to your phone calls momentarily if you would like to chime in, 615-737-1045. What questions would you have of Titans head coach Brian Callahan tonight if you were to ask a question? We will work our way through those things. Speaking of things that you're going to want to be a part of, though, 104.5 The Zone is teamed up with Game Terminal for their 4th annual Beer Fest on Saturday, May the 17th. Get ready for a day filled with beer, cider, and alcohol tastings, games, fun, and excitement. Buy your tickets now for $40, or you can get them for $50 at the door. Beer tastings, gift bag, and swag will be included with each purchase, and a portion of the proceeds will go to Nashville Humane Association, which is, of course, a great cause. For more info or to purchase tickets, visit 1045thezone.com/events. Tyler on YouTube brings up the fact that not only have I purchased a $22 water bottle in my life, but I have purchased a $50 donut in my life when I was at owners' meetings in Palm Beach. That's, some things you try once, and it was a really damn good donut. I don't know if I'd do it again, but I did it once. So where things stack up right now in the AFC South, where I don't know that anybody would be overwhelmed by any of the 4 teams and the way that they were able to acquire talent or the kind of talent that they were able to acquire this year. So to me, I don't know if you guys do it this way or if you guys process it this way or think about it this way. But there is something in particular that I try to, I just try to discern themes from a draft class. So what theme does each draft class take on after it's completed? Understanding that UDFAs matter in the mix and you can continue to address needs. There's not such a great difference between a 5th round pick and a UDFA, depending on how late in the draft order you are with these things. But what does the Titans draft class tell you about who the Titans want to be? To me, the Titans draft class screamed, got to eat your veggies. Got to eat your veggies. Got to make sure that you're, getting the broccoli and the carrots and the kale salad and everything else that you probably aren't. Maybe it's not your favorite thing. Some people like carrots. Some people like broccoli. I like kale salad. Nothing wrong with any of that. But maybe not the best thing, the most tasty thing, the most delightful thing on your plate. But you got to eat your veggies before you can get to the good stuff. The good stuff is probably coming with Cam Ward, and provided that they continue to support him, come in a couple of years down the road. It's going to be a process for you to get back to the point that you were lusting after. You can't microwave the results. So this to me was, yeah, we got to eat our veggies. We need to hit it. We need to go on a diet. We've been gorging on junk food for too long in the last couple of off seasons, or putting off that treadmill class that we've been signing up for but canceling, and then signing up for again and then canceling again. No, this time you got to eat your vegetables. You got to make sure that you're getting 45 minutes of exercise a day. That's the Titans draft class to me. We knew that they had needs all over the board. The question is, when you look at the rookies that the other teams brought in and how much a rookie draft class can put you over the top, it's not any one player. Most successful run, Robert, that the Ravens have been on since you've been a fan of them is when?
Aside from the Super Bowl run?
So 2012?
Yes, that would be the most successful run.
Yeah.
Now, the most fun run would be the one they're on currently. But I would argue that is not. I don't think everyone would argue, but that's not as successful as winning a Super Bowl.
Sure. I guess what I mean is, like, in any individual season, maybe you had expectations, maybe you didn't have expectations, but you brought in a rookie draft class, and it put what you had on the roster over the top. It allowed you to take the talent that you had to a different dimension. For the Titans, most recently, it's 2019. It's Jeff Simmons in the first round, A.J. Brown in the second round, Nate Davis in the third round, Amani Hooker in the fourth round, David Long in the fifth. No, who was that? DeAndre Walker? DeAndre Carter? I can't remember that Georgia pass rusher's name. He didn't make it. He's the only one of that draft class that washed out. But fifth-round pass rusher out of Georgia, sixth-round David Long, the linebacker, who was a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. That draft class had instant contributors that came onto a football team that was largely ready to win but needed some help. And, of course, they had a quarterback change that helped facilitate all of that. But that draft class really kicked things into gear for not last year's Lions team, but 2 years ago with Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs and the rest of the Jack Campbell and the rest of the rookies that they were able to bring in. Detroit was a good football team. Hitting on a rookie class helped put them into a different stratosphere. So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at these different draft classes that the AFC South put together and trying to evaluate, all right, who is going to put themselves in the best possible position to succeed. For Houston, we understood that their moves this offseason, they traded away Laramie Tunsil, who's one of the best left tackles in football. The offensive line becomes front and center for them, protecting C.J. Stroud, supporting C.J. Stroud becomes front and center for them. They needed to make sure that they addressed tackle. They also had some injuries at wide receiver that would necessitate them drafting wide receivers. And they did exactly that. They took Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State. They took also Jalen Noel, the wide receiver out of Iowa State. In the second and third round, Ariante Ursary, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota, is the pick that I really liked halfway through the second round for the Texans. And then they double-dipped again with a couple of USC players in Jalen Smith and Woody Marks. What a great name for running back, Woody Marks. Jalen Reed, the safety out of Penn State. Graham Mertz was a surprise pick, the quarterback out of Florida, somebody who got benched last year. Vols fans know this well. And then they had 2 seventh-round picks in Keontae Hamilton, the defensive tackle out of Rutgers. Luke Lachey, the tight end out of Iowa, completed Houston's draft class. So for the most part, they didn't really address their needs, their most pressing needs, through the draft. They went best player available. Did they need both Iowa State wide receivers? Probably not. But taking Jalen Noel where they did with the 15th pick in the third round kept Tennessee from being able to get to Jalen Noel at 82 because they had traded back into the third round in that deal with that they did with Seattle. So you not only add a good player, a quality football player to your team at a position that maybe you don't have need, but you're just trying to build up good depth for, God forbid, anything happen to Nico Collins or obviously Tank Dell dealing with a broken leg. The John Mechie situation has been tough sledding for him at the start of his career. We'll see how much more he's able to capitalize now that he's back from that health scare, from that cancer scare. But it also keeps you from having to play Jalen Noel twice a year if he ends up going to the Titans 3 picks later. You look at what the Indianapolis Colts did. Now, of course, Indianapolis, their biggest issue is still the quarterback. Anthony Richardson is not a professional quarterback at this point in time. Protecting the quarterback is something that they were going to have to emphasize, too. It's it's really a theme for all four of these teams. You needed a safety valve for either Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. Basically, you needed a draft class that's going to put Indy in a position to compete for the top of the division. How close do we think Indianapolis is to pushing Houston for the AFC South? Like actually pushing Houston for the division title. They haven't won it since Luck was quarterbacking them.
That would be a tough hill to sled. I would argue they're probably about 3 to 4 wins of separation between those two teams.
Tyler Warren is their first-round pick, the tight end out of Penn State. So there's your safety valve. JT, and I'm going to butcher his last name, the edge rusher out of Ohio State, Tuimoloau, I believe is how you say it. That's as close as I'm going to get. Who I would have loved to see the Titans pick, but he went 45th in the second round. You got Justin Wally, the cornerback out of Minnesota, Jalen Travis, an offensive tackle, who's not going to be a day one starter, but does have some upside. DJ Giddens, Riley Leonard, quarterback out of Notre Dame, is also a pickup by the Indianapolis Colts. We'll see if he even makes it out of camp. And then you get into their 6th and 7th round picks in Tim Smith, the defensive tackle from Alabama, and a linebacker out of Wisconsin. I don't think that helps the Colts the way that they need help. Have you paid attention to this Braden Smith story, the right tackle for Indy, who's been in and out of the lineup because apparently he has crippling anxiety?
I've seen the notes, but I haven't followed it.
Yeah, it's just it's a curious story because there was a guard for Philadelphia. In fact, he started his career with the Houston Texans, went to Philly. I'm blanking on his name, Brandon something maybe.
Oh, dadgummit. I keep thinking Evan Mathis, but
no, Evan Mathis was a good guard for them for a long, long time. But Brandon, it wasn't Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham, a defensive tackle. Either way, Brandon Brooks, Texans guard for a long time, then signed a deal with Philadelphia, had some anxiety issues that would cause him to violently throw up during games, would cause him incredible anxiety, incredible mental stress and things like that. Anyway, so unforeseen circumstances that also can impact a player's ability to perform. The mental, arguably as important as the physical. So they're working on protection issues too, and they also have to get Richardson to be more refined. I just don't think, like, if you told me Indy went 8-9 again this year with probably both of these quarterbacks playing, like, I don't think they're an appreciably better football team. In fact, I might argue that Indianapolis did the least amount of improvement this offseason between all four of these teams. They're going to be talked about as if they should be competing at the top of the division. And I do give Shane Steichen a ton of credit for winning 8 games with that quarterback situation last year. But, like, I can't imagine that Chris Ballard survives this season. I think that they need legitimate change in Indy because they've made too many mistakes to just continue to hover around this middle of the pack, missing the playoffs type of thing.
So I looked it up. This is an article from April 29th. He was diagnosed with religious scrupulosity, which Google defines as an OCD order where religious or moral obsessions and compulsions become a constant source of distress, characterized by excessive doubts, fears, and anxieties about religious practices, moral beliefs, and perceived sins. So it's something that is overwhelming for him off the field that he is having to overcome to get back on the field. And it's a huge part of that Colts offense.
Really, really difficult. Somebody tweeted me incorrectly. Jet Life Season tweeted me and says, Graham didn't get benched. He tore his ACL. We're not talking about the same person. I understand that I wasn't talking about Brandon Graham. I was talking about Brandon Brooks. But that's neither here nor there. That sounds awful, by the way, that diagnosis.
Oh, gosh.
OCD.
Can you imagine?
For people who actually have OCD, don't just joke about, like, needing to have, I use 3 different color pens when I make my notes because I need to have organization. That's not real OCD. That's
if my uncle, for instance, he has to wash out his coffee cup 6 times every time. Any cup he touches, he has to make sure that he puts a sponge in, washes out. It's debilitating.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do about it.
There is Indianapolis. I mean, I guess the thing that you're banking on is, does Anthony Richardson, but like Anthony Richardson would have to make such an appreciable jump for that to be a good football team, like a football team that you can count on. My issue with Anthony Richardson is the same issue that I have with Levis. I don't trust him out there. In fact, I might argue that I trust Anthony Richardson less than I do Will Levis because Levis doesn't have anything on his resume like he got tired on a 3rd down and had to come out of a game. Are we overemphasizing that particular point too much? I've never seen a football player actively admit to that. I'm sure it's happened before and we just haven't found out about it. I'm sure it's happened before and a player hasn't publicly said that they pulled themselves out of the game because they were winded whatever the case may be. That's just such an awful message that sends.
There might be something we don't know about it, but it seems to me like just broadly, that bothers me on a third down, a big moment in the game, and you don't want the ball in your hands. I don't want that person to be the leader of my football team. I don't want you to be the quarterback of my football team if you don't want the ball in your hands in those moments.
On YouTube, where you can interact with the show, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and, of course, we'll get to your phone calls here in just a second, 615-737-1045. John Boy on YouTube says, as a Florida fan, AR should have been drafted where Milroe was. Now, Anthony Richardson is the most athletic quarterback in the history of combine testing. So I'm assuming that's going to be good enough to bump him up a little bit from a third-round pick like Jalen Milroe was. But he's the 4th overall pick in an NFL draft that had 2 other quarterbacks in it go in the first round. Both of those quarterbacks look like they have significantly more or better pro prospects than Anthony Richardson currently does. Coupled with the effort thing, I can't count on him. I have to be able to trust players at the quarterback position. And I can't count on my guy to stay in the game on third down. Get to your phone calls here in just a second, right after I tell you about the 2025 Golf Classic. You can join 104.5 The Zone for the 2025 Golf Classic presented by Ferguson on Monday, June the 9th at Nashville Golf and Athletic Club. Located in the heart of Cool Springs, this historic golf course features breathtaking panoramic views of the beautiful Middle Tennessee countryside. Purchase your team today and choose between 2 flights, 8 a.m. or 1 p.m., and spend the day teeing off with 104.5 The Zone. For more info or to purchase a team, visit 1045thezone.com. Ross is in Nashville up next. Hey, Ross.
Hey, Buck. Enjoyed the event last year. Unfortunately, I'm going to see my son and my daughter-in-law, and so we'll miss this. So the question I would love to hear upon coming back that you got to ask and that Callahan actually answered is when he went into depth recently talking about how he likes to let practices be about experimenting, and it certainly was in the context of a quarterback. And then he uses game time to correct situational things. Well, that didn't translate this year for Will Levis, and I'll throw him under the bus, but is there something that Callahan would say he's refining about that he's going to do specifically with Cam Ward so we don't see a repeat of that too much this year in his rookie year?
Thank you for the call, Ross. I don't think it's unfortunate that you're going to visit your kids instead of coming to the live show tonight, but I do appreciate that. And I'm glad you had fun last year. That is an interesting question. Now, experimentation at practice to me happens during what's getting ready to come up, during like the voluntary stuff where coaches are just throwing all kinds of stuff that's probably never going to work in a game at you. But they want to put some stuff on paper, then see if it translates to the field. If it works, great. If it doesn't, all right, scrap it. I don't think that's how regular season practices go. And I would also tell you that their experience with Will Levis last year was so different from probably any other experience Callahan has had with a quarterback because they had no issues with Will Levis in practice. And they had no issues with Will Levis in the meetings. Where the issues arose is that they could not quantify how Will Levis was so capable of making the worst possible decision at the worst possible time. I don't know if that's an anomaly, if that's a bit of a shooting star type of situation, but it is a good question. So perhaps we'll get into that tonight. Coming up next. Are we not doing Friday Fire?
We are doing Friday Fire.
Don't we typically do Friday Fire? Oh, is that in the second hour? Am I mixed up?
You are. Yes, we are doing Friday Fire Day, but it is in the second hour. And if you would like to win tickets to see Pearl Jam, you will need to call us up and tell us your favorite thing.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Not
Do
yet.
Do not call us yet. Well, I mean, you can call us, but not about the Pearl Jam tickets. You have to wait an hour before you call us about the Pearl Jam tickets. Coming up next, there are ESPN projections on Offensive Rookie of the Year, on Defensive Rookie of the Year, and we'll tell you where they have Cam Ward placed in just a moment. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken on this beautiful Friday, May the 2nd. We're happy to have you. So you've drafted a quarterback number 1 overall. Your expectation is that that quarterback is going to play right away. You would like for there to be no competition. You would like for there to be no Urban Meyer-esque experience, and that encompasses a great many things, so perhaps I should be more specific. You would like to not be gaslit, essentially, about your quarterback. The way that when Urban Meyer drafted Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall, he was splitting reps with Gardner Minshew in the voluntary stuff and into training camp. A lot of people would have said, well, why on earth are you wasting time that way? What are you doing with Gardner Minshew when you clearly and obviously understand that Trevor Lawrence is going to be your starting quarterback? And maybe it would have benefited Trevor Lawrence to not have to start in his rookie year under Uncle Herb, because that experience was horrendous top to bottom, and Urban Meyer became one of the few NFL coaches that have ever been fired during their first season. It is something that for Cam Ward, Titans fans have kind of, gone back and forth on the idea of, well, what is Will Levis still doing here? Why would they even bother? Why wouldn't they even try and trade him during the draft? And you had Chad Brinker in here yesterday explaining to you exactly why it doesn't make sense to trade Will Levis during the draft, and why it doesn't make sense to let Will Levis go even before you've had OTAs, voluntary work, training camp, preseason games. You want Cam Ward to have to earn the job as much as he's going. You're probably going to give him the job, but you want him to earn it. You want him to compete. You want to see him pushed in those different ways where, like we talked about yesterday, he gets tested at Miami by Mario Cristobal and the coaching staff to see how he responds. And you know how he's going to respond, or at least you think you do, based on the character of the player that you're getting coming in. But you still want to try and drive competition in every position group that you have. Now, when it comes to the Rookie of the Year stuff, Cam Ward's going to be a popular betting pick at this point in time, because he's probably the only one of these rookie quarterbacks. Depending on what happens with the Saints, I don't know if Shedeur Sanders is going to end up starting meaningful games, starting multiple games for the Cleveland Browns as a 5th-round pick. It's entirely possible that Cam Ward is the only quarterback who starts the bulk of his games for his new team this year, again, depending on what happens in New Orleans with Derek Carr and Tyler Shuck. Duck on YouTube says, you want Ward to compete, bring in Aaron Rodgers. I can't. And some of you have brought Aaron Rodgers up before. I guess theoretically, that's something that you could entertain if you wanted to. I don't think that person adds anything to your locker room. I don't think that person adds anything to your football team really at this point in time. I don't think that benefits your coaching staff, your organization. I really don't think it benefits you. Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Will Levis. That's a completely sound and logical opinion to have. But Will Levis is not so bad that you can't have him in here to at least try and push Cam Ward a little bit. Now, how Will Levis would respond to the Cam Ward trash talk in the same way that Cam Ward was very comfortable trash talking Shedeur Sanders, I guess it's not trash talk if you can back it up. It's just confidence. He exudes confidence at every level of his game. It is interesting, though, that the only starting quarterback out of this rookie class is not currently favorite for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. At least according to ESPN Bet, Raiders running back Ashton Genty on ESPN Bet is plus 275 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Ward, who he has better odds than, and Genty, who it is being talked about, is Genty better at running back than Cam Ward is at quarterback? I'm not going to entertain that conversation. I think that's a bit silly. I think running back is as beholden to what's around them as almost any other position on the roster. Maybe wide receiver is the most positionally dependent on another position to be able to do their job. But, what good would Ashton Genty do if he went to the New England Patriots because their offensive line situation is horrendous? This ESPN article that was produced by Ben Solak says that Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite, Raiders running back Ashton Jeanty, in some ways, isn't that surprising. 6th overall pick, earliest drafted running back since Saquon Barkley went second in 2018. Barkley, the last running back to win the award. Solak notes Jeanty was also considered one of the best prospects in the class, certainly better than Ward. Now, I'm not just going to do the outrage thing as a means of, Kyle Brandt patronizing Titans fans or politicking with Titans fans to try and say, no, I'm on your side. I've got you. Don't worry. Thought that was a bit performative, and that's fine. He's doing television. Television's performative. Ashton Jeanty a better prospect than Cam Ward is? I vehemently disagree with that. It's based on who the player is. Ashton Jeanty's a fun watch. I don't think he's so much better as a running back prospect. I think you could even entertain the idea of Omarion Hampton being nearly as good a prospect as Ashton Jeanty is. I think Cam Ward deserves to be talked about in the same light as Ashton Jeanty because Ashton Jeanty is a really, really good player. But I think that Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter are in a different tier from a guy like Jeanty, who plays a position that is not disposable. We seem to be gravitating back towards volume running in the NFL. These things ebb and flow as defensive coordinators make adjustments. You start getting lighter personnel on defense to adjust to the passing game. All of a sudden, a team's going to turn around and just run the ball down your throat to make sure that they're taking advantage of your personnel deficiencies. So we see these things be cyclical, just like we see teams being competitive or teams' competitiveness being cyclical. I would be shocked if Ashton Jeanty ended up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year over Cam Ward, a quarterback. We, at every turn, as a football-consuming society, go out of our way to make sure that quarterback is prioritized in all of these things. NFL MVP shouldn't be a position-wide award. It should be a quarterback award for the way that we give it out anymore, where Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry can barely sniff a vote in the MVP discussion and end up, they pacify them by giving them Offensive Rookie or Offensive Player of the Year accolades, which is fine. It still matters. It's still a huge achievement. And what Derrick Henry did in the 2,000-yard season, what Saquon Barkley did last year en route to winning the Super Bowl, awesome. But it's just, I've accused Titans fans of having a bit of a persecution complex where it relates to, okay, are you imagining a lot of these slights, or are the slights against you real? Every time I turn around, there's a new example of a number 1 overall pick being drafted to a franchise that nobody else in the country, in the football-consuming country, cares about, so they're very quick to discount anybody that plays for the Tennessee Titans, even a quarterback drafted number 1 overall. The logic behind Jeanty, I guess, is that the offensive line isn't bad in Vegas and that Chip Kelly and a backfield that has not a lot of competition means that Jeanty's going to get a lot of touches. Cam Ward is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, though. I don't think I've ever been bothered by preseason Offensive Rookie of the Year odds, but that just seemed crazy to me. There's some comments on the F&M Bank chat, like Brandon says, give me Omarion Hampton for the value as opposed to Jeanty at 6. Especially that position where you can find Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round and he can end up helping you compete for Super Bowls and being maybe not just as good as the best running backs in the league, but Pacheco has been a really effective player at that position. I just can't imagine. Like, why is Omarion Hampton then not have higher Offensive Rookie of the Year odds if we're just going to give it to Ashton Jeanty, other than for some reason people at every turn are going to slight Cam Ward as the quarterback of a franchise that nobody outside of SEC country really cares about. And you could argue that the Falcons are more popular in this part of the world than the Tennessee Titans are. It may not even be arguable nationally. But you don't care about nationally. You care about what's best for your football team. Cam Ward is what's best for your football team. Cam Ward is going to be the starting quarterback for the bulk of the season. I'm pretty comfortable saying that, even if Brian Callahan and Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker at every turn declined to name a starter on May 2nd. That's fine. Just something that caught my eye. Coming up next, people who are attending the install tonight are going to have the opportunity, depending on how much they donate to Home Street Home, to ask Brian Callahan and Greg Cosell questions. But if you're not going to be able to go, we've had some people post questions that they would be interested in hearing the answer to, and we're going to get into that coming up next. Also, Robert has found a breakdown of Titans media assigned to football positions on the field. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help guys who start to feel tired, start getting more sluggish in the day-to-day, start feeling not like themselves, and assume that it's just part of aging. Doesn't have to be that way. Low energy and performance issues aren't inevitable, and solutions do exist, and they exist at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. No guesswork and no gimmicks is what they offer you, just real science and effective treatments that go beyond the generic online pills and that are overpriced and oftentimes ineffective. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, they'll offer you personalized treatment plans. Multiple urologists and providers are there to tailor solutions specifically to your body and to your goals. They offer comprehensive men's services, ED treatments, testosterone treatments, and other options that a lot of guys don't even know exist. It's affordable and accessible at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Your consultation will include blood work with results before you leave. So act now. Procrastination can only make this problem worse. 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090, or visit them online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com today.
What's going on, you bunch of hooligans? 11:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Titans head coach Brian Callahan spoke to the media yesterday when he asked about how the quarterback reps would be split between Cam Ward and Will Levis.
Yeah, well, they'll have plenty of opportunities. How those reps get shaken out will sort of be determined by how they perform when given opportunities. That part of it's been thought out. We have a plan in place, and what that looks like is going to ultimately be sort of up to them, and how their performance goes when there's time to perform. So, feel good about the process and the plan in place, and there's going to be plenty of reps for those guys to compete and get better and improve and be ready to play in September.
And Brian Callahan is going to be at the install live tonight, as you should be. Handful of tickets still available at 104.5 The Zone. Come hang out with us as Greg Cosell, Brian Callahan, Buck Rising break down every single Titans draft pick tonight at the Analog Room at the Hutton Hotel. We want to see you there. Titans rookie numbers were assigned yesterday. Cam Ward, obviously, with number 1, Femi Oladejo with 53, and Kevin Winston Jr. wearing 23. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour is upon us. We got Coach Dave McGinnis coming up in just about 10 minutes from now. Talk a little shop with the main man, Mac. I guess we have not spoken to Mac, at least on this show, since the Titans put a full draft class together. We did talk to him the Friday after the draft.
He's been a busy man. I hadn't even seen him since, Nam. It's been forever since I even laid eyes on that beautiful man. Do we know if he's going to be at the install tonight?
I have not. Oh, my God. I hope Mac knows he's invited to that.
You'll have to extend the olive branch the next segment.
Oh, no. Did I forget to invite Coach Mac?
Uh-oh.
Well, he's got a million things going on. I just assumed he knew that it... that's
your fault.
Out of me. That's the first
tough.
Mistake I've made.
Someone document this so the next one will be the second one.
11:05 a.m., Friday, May the 2nd. The first mistake I've ever made in my entire life.
Poor Mac, man. He knows I love him. I don't know if he knows you love him.
Oh, shut up. So we will invite Mac to the live show tonight in the next segment. I'm sure that won't be a problem at all. I'm sure he's got a million different things going on. I'm sure he's got plenty of Coach Mac things to do that do not involve our thing. But our thing's going to be fun, too. So we're looking forward to having you guys in the house tonight. So, given that 250 of you guys are going to be able to attend the live show tonight with Brian Callahan and Greg Cosell, but the vast majority of you will not be able to because of the tickets, though there are still a select few amount of tickets available. $36, even after fees, $36 is what it costs for you to come hang out and hear your head coach break down your new number 1 overall pick at quarterback and the rest of the draft class. A very offensive-themed breakdown is what we're going to look at tonight, but we will talk a little defense as well with the head coach. What are you guys most excited to learn out of this? If there's a player that you're most curious about. I mean, you could go on down the list. I've got the evaluations in front of me that we're going to have printed out for you guys at each table of all 9 Titans draft picks for you to kind of follow along with the tape breakdowns. For Cam Ward, there are questions. You have fewer questions about the number 1 overall pick, but there are questions about how he's going to improve on how he compensates with his, as Greg calls it in the evaluation, his snap whip-like delivery. Little bit of a low delivery, dropping the ball below his waist. He's got a strong tendency to drift on dropbacks without setting his feet and planting with a firm base, which is an indication of a lack of positional discipline. Okay. Well, how do you improve the positional discipline? What's the process of a coach? Because Callahan's got a pretty unique background here. And one of the questions that I'm going to ask him, in particular, working with most recently Will Levis, but before that, Joe Burrow. I can't remember exactly the chronological order of them before Burrow, but Derek Carr, Matt Stafford, Peyton Manning. as an NFL coach, whether you're a quality control guy, whether you're an assistant offensive coach, whether you're an offensive coordinator, a quarterback coach, or otherwise, he's had a lot of different players who I'm sure have left all manner of different impressions upon him and learning opportunities. But I'm looking forward to understanding from him, given that they're all different personalities and, that they have some different differentiation in their skill sets, which of them left the most lasting professional impact on him? I mean, I assume the answer is going to be Peyton Manning in some form or fashion, because working with Peyton Manning, I'm sure, is crazy. Robert, do you know that 2 of the 3 people that are going to be on stage tonight have watched tape individually and broken down film with Peyton Manning?
When did you do that?
Yeah, when me. Cosell has had an individualized film session. I think Peyton was still playing at the time. I can't remember if it was with Denver or Indianapolis. Greg, I'm sure we'll talk about it tonight. And obviously Callahan being on those Denver Broncos coaching staffs and the one that went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl is something that I think the 2 of them, it's a very unique experience. It's a lot of football acumen up on the stage tonight. And, and then there's me. So we will see what he has to say about Cam Ward and also how you go about supporting a rookie quarterback in this situation. What's the biggest difference between the Cincinnati Bengals drafting Joe Burrow and the Tennessee Titans drafting Cam Ward? Can anybody in the class tell me? You don't have a fire-breathing dragon at receiver. Now, Jamar Chase came a year after Joe Burrow, but still made all the difference in the world. T. Higgins was drafted in the same draft class as Joe Burrow. I think he's the 2nd-round pick that year in the COVID draft. And then in 2021, they brought in Chase and obviously took the thing to a different level. Cam Ward does not have that luxury here. There is no, I would argue there's not even a T. Higgins. Calvin Ridley's a good player. I think Calvin's more reliable than he gets credit for. Certainly you deserve as much credit as you'd be comfortable giving any player to produce a 1,000-yard season with the kind of quarterback play that you were getting in Tennessee a season ago. But how you go about supplementing, because no one situation is created equal. Peyton Manning's circumstance in Denver was not the same as Matt Stafford in Detroit, was not the same as Derek Carr in Oakland, was not the same as Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and then Levis and Cam Ward in Tennessee. Both all very different scenarios, different quarterbacks, different styles, different stages of their career. How do you best support this particular player, given the lack of help that he projects to have around him right out of the gate? How do you supplement that as much as humanly possible? Well, you heard from one of those players that's going to help do exactly that. Tyler Lockett gave what was regarded as one of the better media availabilities that I think Titans media has ever had.
Oh, it's just because he shook all your hands.
That's right. That's right. If you acknowledge media as people, they'll be nice to you. That's really all it takes.
He even came out and said that. He was like, well, I'm hoping that after shaking all y'all's hands, you'd be a little bit nicer
That's right.
to me.
Turns out that works. Now, in the case of Brian Callahan, and I talked to him about this before, you go 3-14, we're not going to have a lot of nice things to say about you just generally. That's, them's the breaks. But Tyler Lockett is somebody who's coming in here to help support the rookie quarterback. Calvin Ridley is somebody who is here already and is going to provide a skill set that helps support the rookie quarterback. A lot of you guys turned your nose up. We do that Keenan Allen hypothetical yesterday or Wednesday? I can't remember. Yesterday, we talked about the idea of Pro Football Focus presenting Keenan Allen as a post-draft free agency ad for the Titans that made sense. Robert and I were both on board for it, depending on the price point. I don't think that signing Keenan Allen at this late stage of his career to a one-year deal would prevent you from pursuing a guy like Zadarius Smith, who I think is the most important player for you to acquire in the post-draft free agency process. I'm sure there will be bidding. He's a quality pass rusher, quality edge defender, just generally well-rounded, even though he's older. Still worth it, again, depending on how much he's trying to leverage his situation for. He's going to have suitors. Keenan Allen makes a ton of sense for a rookie quarterback because the rookie quarterback is going to be out there with rookie wide receivers, if not, who are also trying to learn on the job. You want to try and make the learning process as easy as humanly possible for Cam Ward. Keenan Allen, a guy like Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley, what they bring to the table, all of their unique experiences would help bring that rookie quarterback along. And it's not 3 30-plus-year-old wide receivers for a rookie quarterback do not equal one Jamar Chase. But you're trying to make the best of the circumstances that you have right now, and there's always going to be some stuff that you just simply can't get to in any given NFL offseason. Wide receiver, it feels like they've done a lot of work, though. I mean, 12 different players of the position. How many of them were already on the roster? Half? Maybe 7 out of the 12, if you count Traylon, who's currently working his way back from the injury and not expected to be available, at least for the start of training camp. We'll see how much further along he gets as training camp wears on. But we will, do you want to talk about this Titans media football position thing?
No.
Why is it in there?
I don't know. I'm upset because I'm not on it.
What about you makes you Titans media?
What about, okay, hold on. Pull that damn thing up. Pull that damn thing up. How many people on there don't even, I've been to more practices than some people on there.
Have you?
Yes.
Who?
Yes.
Name names.
I'll have to pull it up. I don't have it in front of me. All I'm saying is I should have been the fullback. Come on, man. Come on. Doesn't that make sense? And I'm blocking for you. I'm blocking for you. Don't you want me to open up a hole for you? Come on, man.
This is 2025. We're not playing with fullbacks anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all are going to lose then because y'all got some work to do at receiver. Y'all got some work to do. I'm going to sign with another media corps, and they're going to be happy to have me as a UDFA.
So there is, that would be fitting given that you are a Ravens fan in Titans land. It's not natural to have you amongst the people this way. This
Who's Justin Garver? I ain't never seen him at a daggum practice. He's your starting corner.
Who
what
are
do you
talking
mean?
About? Justin Garver. I've never heard of that before.
Graver. He ain't ever played a snap.
He runs that fan account.
Okay, well, wrong.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been to a practice. So to your point, you've been to more practices than Justin Garver, as you called him.
At least let me be the special teams coordinator.
This is an account from, it's called @the420 Titan. So I don't know if he was high. I mean, that makes sense. He was high when he made this, which is why the positions were assigned the way that they were. So he put together a starting 11 on offense and a starting 11 on defense. And even put together 3 you didn't even make special teams. You couldn't get punter, long snapper, or kicker.
That's what I'm saying. Move Austin Stanley from tight end, get him to corner, then you got to open slot, move me to tight end. So really, Slay shouldn't be the DC. If we're trying to put the best team on paper, Slay shouldn't be the defensive coordinator. Slay should be at tight end.
So the head coach, Dave McGinnis,
with that,
is how this account outlined it. Offensive coordinator, new voice of the Titans, Taylor Zarzer, who, by the way, is still in the middle of golf stuff. Have you seen this human being?
He's like most OCs. They're busy playing golf this time of year.
Okay. DC Ron Slay.
He'll have them hype.
Defense, absolutely. Get the people going. The safety, Blaine Bishop, understandably so.
Makes sense.
Linebackers, Will Compton and Zach Bingham.
Come on.
Edge players, Will was a professional NFL linebacker. I know he looks like he wasn't a
You think I have a problem with him and not Zach? You don't think I...
Zach, I think, has a couple of inches on Compton. That doesn't necessarily make you a good linebacker.
Well, I don't care.
Zach also has those cocaine eyes. He doesn't actually use cocaine, but intensity. He has the eyes of somebody like when I stop myself from calling people stupid, but I say you're displaying the behavior of a stupid person. Zach's eyes would connote that somebody that uses cocaine but doesn't actually use cocaine. He's just a crazy person. The edge defenders are Kayla and Dawn.
I'm cool with that. We need some fire.
Dawn off the edge, yeah. Although
Kayla's very rangy. Kayla could play Sam. She could drop in coverage a little bit.
Dawn feels like she should be a blitzing nickel, like a blitzing defensive back.
I could be.
Maybe
down
I'm
with
just
that.
doing the height thing there.
No, and we only have one safety, so she could play a little around the.
The defensive line unit is the most questionable. Will Bowling, Kaharski, and Easton Freeze.
Woof. I think it's just a simple miscasting on Will's side.
They just didn't know where to put them.
Yeah.
You should have been in the nose tackle. That's where I would feel most slighted.
Oh, you just want to call me the fatty? You just ready to call me a big wide dude?
I know plenty of athletic nose tackles.
And if we're putting a team together, I hate it, but Will Compton, Blaine Bishop, Taylor Lewan, Ramon Foster, y'all are going to have to play both ways. Y'all going to have to play both ways.
Well, this is the best part. The offensive line is Taylor Lewan, Ramon Foster. Who is this?
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't never seen him before. That's my whole point.
Oh, no. That's that, oh, damn it. I got mad at that guy because he went at Jimmy Wyatt.
Oh, yep. Get him off the team.
What the hell is it? Locked On. Locked On Titans. Right guard, Zach Lyons, miscast. Right tackles, Stoney Keeley. That makes sense. Quarterback, Jim Wyatt, of course. Running back, me.
The biggest dive on that is people are going to be like, what? He's not even seeking out contact. He keeps running out of bounds.
That's right. I'm the Tyler Lockett of running backs, baby. Mr. Two-Hand Touch.
Stop it. We got to go to break.
Coach Mac next. You know, I love announcements, and I love announcing that Two Rivers Ford has employee pricing for everyone. That's right. You pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot when you go visit them out at their beautiful location in Mount Juliet, just 7 miles east of Nashville International Airport. It's just one of the many ways over the course of Two Rivers Ford 40-plus year history that they've made the car buying process fast, easy, and more fun. And at Two Rivers Ford, what you see is always what you get. They don't do things like add expensive accessories or tack on service packages to increase the price of the vehicle. Two Rivers is always upfront and honest every single time. And now they are offering you employee pricing. There's no better time to buy American, and there's no better dealership than Two Rivers Ford. I know this as a customer myself, Coach Mack, Ramon Foster, Don Davenport, so many other millions of Middle Tennesseans across the last 40-plus years have been happy, satisfied Two Rivers Ford customers. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, like I mentioned. Home of the non-commissioned sales team, and now home of employee pricing for everyone. From America, for America, Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. one of our favorite times of the week. In fact, it's the highlight of my Friday. Talking to Coach Mack, Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio, made possible by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, where employee pricing for everyone is currently on offer. But I fear that I have to start this interview, our regularly scheduled interview with Coach Mack, in a terrible place by apologizing to Mack. Mack, I did not personally invite you to tonight's event. I hope that you know that you are invited, of course, if you do not already have plans on this Friday night. I am so sorry that I did not let you know individually. I assume that if you wanted to go, you would just show up anyway, but that's a terrible omission by me. I assume, like I said, you have Coach Mack things going on.
Yeah, Buck, there's no reason to apologize. No, absolutely. No, I was very aware of it. I was telling Bert, I'm getting ready to get on a flight to go out of town to do an event this weekend. I absolutely know that I'm always included in what you're doing. That should be a great event tonight. I think the people that are coming will really, really enjoy it, and it should be an entertaining evening.
It absolutely will be, and so I appreciate you being gracious, Mac, about that, because I do actually. It's one of the rare times that I do actually feel shame. I was like, oh my God, I didn't text Coach Mack and ask him if he wanted to come. But like I said, I know you got a million different things going on, but it is a pretty unique opportunity, Mac. You as a former NFL head coach and having worked in the league as long as you do, and you know the time constraints that are on people in these jobs. It's pretty unique for Brian Callahan to give his time to come in here and individually break down plays from his new draft class for 250 people in the house tonight.
Well, yeah, it is. It's a really gracious thing. It is, and it's going to be very informative, for the fans. I mean, Brian Callahan, when you sit and visit with him, you find out what a quality human being he is, and plus he's really thoughtful. He's introspective. He understands it. He understands the whole perspective, and being able to be involved with the fans is a huge part of it. Having been a head coach, I tried to do it as much as I could, but you just can't, as you said, there's time constraints. But there's not very many head coaches, I think, around the league that would do that, especially at this time with the mini camps and all that stuff. I mean, he's got a few things to do too, so it'll be a great event.
Yes, no question. We're looking forward to raising some money for a great cause in Home Street Home tonight as well. Mac, with the class that they put together, understanding that the UDFA process ongoing, Chad Brinker was in here for the first 20-25 minutes of the radio show with me yesterday. So they still weren't currently commenting on UDFA's a lot of different processes to work through to make sure that everybody's got physicals under contract. Totally understand that part of it. But let's just take the draft class as a whole, the 9 players that they've added. What kind of message does this draft class send to you based on the kinds of players, the kinds of people that they were able to add to this organization over the 3 days of the draft last week?
That thread runs through all of them. I mean, they were all very, very productive players as to where they were, and they do have another common thread as far as they're experienced players. Whether they stayed at the same place or whether they in this age of the transfer portal move to other spots. You've got guys that were proven to be leaders wherever they went. And again, look, these guys, and I think they did a really good job of. And they did. They've got a lot of experience now in that front office, and the amount of time that look, as much time as anybody that's not really involved in the draft or that does it recreationally, which you do if you're not with a team, thinks you put time into evaluating these people. That the amount of time and the amount of detail that they go through to evaluate the players, and then to be able to put together a draft, as it was going on. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed, doing the draft and following along with them. We had Coach Callahan come in with us when we were up there at the facility for the second night, in between the rounds. Now, everybody that they drafted has got the opportunity, I firmly believe, to contribute in some way or the other, depending on how quickly they can develop and morph into what the National Football League and in particular the Titans want them to be. but every one of these guys has got it in their background that they've excelled where they were. And the biggest thing that's important is guys that not only embrace the fact that they want to be NFL players, but you got to embrace this grind of what it is. And you know it as well as I do. You're up there. You're closer than most fans get to be to it. This is a daily commitment to what's going on now, the way their careers are going to unfold. So this is a very, very important time. I'm looking forward to watching these guys start out their development, but I think they've got guys that they're football dudes, and now let's see where they go.
Well, and it's just such a fascinating thing to me, Mac, and of course it's an inexact science as for all your tenure in the league and for all the different people that you know who are currently working in the league, who have worked in the league, the draft is still a pretty inexact process because, and I heard an interesting comment, I want to say it was from Jason Light, the Bucs general manager on ESPN at some point this week, where he said, you very rarely miss on the player, but sometimes it's tough to evaluate the person, and how much those two things are, of course, conjoined, no matter how much, fans may kind of treat players as commodities, right? If somebody gets hurt, they're worried about who's next on the depth chart, not necessarily all the different mitigating circumstances around that. And from somebody who has been in this, who's done this, who continues to evaluate players throughout the course of draft preparation, that it seems so difficult to be able to get a grip on both of those things, and probably impossible to predict how a player, or almost impossible to predict how a player who has potential, whether or not they are going to be able to realize that potential based on all the different things that can happen to anybody throughout the course of their life.
Well, that's a valid point. And again, I'm the first to admit, since I've not haven't been coaching anymore, all of my, I feel like all of my evaluations, no matter how hard I work or how much time I put in. I mean, Rhett Bryan and I put in, how much time we put in, but they're still incomplete evaluations because we don't get to talk to these people. We don't get to talk to these people, don't have the resources that are available. And the only reason I know this is because I had those resources and I had that available to me, for over 3 decades when I'm doing it. So any evaluation that I make, as informed as I might think it is, are that the people that evaluate and write about these players, it's an incomplete evaluation unless you really can know the person and dig with the person and sit. And then just the hours that you spend talking as a group. I mean, I can imagine, especially the new group that they put together, how many hours they spent together going over in minute detail every facet of these players. And it's a huge part to try to be able to find that intrinsic value within those guys and say, this guy has got something inside of him that's going to make him be able to embrace that grind and be able to be the 1% that is very, very successful in this league. So I'm the first to admit, no matter how much work I put in and how much time I put in, it's an incomplete evaluation because I do not get to sit down with these guys, on a constant basis. I mean, this is what these guys do every day, every hour of the day leading up to the draft, and it never stops. It never stops when you're in it because it is a people business, and you're right. It's an inexact science. And you're making educated picks, hopefully on all the information that you have, but nothing's a guarantee.
Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio here with us on 104.5 The Zone. The official Titans podcast is something that you can catch up with all the great Titans coverage that the Titans Radio crew is putting out. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Check out all the cool digital stuff that they're doing online at TennesseeTitans.com. Mac, I'm sure you've talked about this with the other shows throughout the course of your visits this week, but I'm just so fascinated to see how, to your point about all of these rookies, maybe Jackson Slater. I don't know how the offensive line situation, the health, obviously, impossible to predict how that's all going to play out. But all these guys are going to contribute in some form or fashion, whether that be offense, defense, special teams, for so many of them cutting their teeth and trying to earn more opportunities to contribute on one of those sides of the ball. I'm so fascinated to see how they incorporate Kevin Winston Jr. on Denard Wilson's defense, whether he earns a starting role, whether he works in his way as a third safety or certain packages for them on defense. There's just so many possibilities for a player like that who fell because of the injury, but we all know is a quality football player and could have had first-round pick potential had he been able to stay healthy all 2024.
Yeah, and for all the information that I had on him, and I was put on him, pretty early by some people that I trust, as far as to, you need to take a look at this guy and go back and look at it before he got hurt. I mean, he's a genuine article, and he really is. And again, that's just one of the stories, and you're 100% correct. I mean, it's I'm sure Denard is very, very excited about it, but they also, those coaches are savvy enough too that they're not going to force anybody in, until they're ready. But the fact that, I mean, and you've got to make some of those moves during the draft. I mean, I've done it plenty myself. I mean, you do all your evaluation, but you also go on your instinct a little bit too. And I think this guy is going to be able to be something that we're going to like. And when you look at the roster, and you broke it down, and you broke it down fundamentally, you knew that they were going to need a safety somewhere along the line, a young safety, to start building with. And I think this guy's going to do something for him.
The draft, obviously, now we're past it. We're still working through the UDFA process, as I mentioned at the start of the segment here, Mac. And post-draft free agency is also a critical part of putting together as complete a roster as any team is capable of putting together. For the audience, could you kind of explain how quickly those conversations start, how much the different personnel departments in the room are working in conjunction with people whose primary responsibility is the draft versus pro personnel, to try and make sure that they have as many of these holes filled as humanly possible and as many of these numbers as they need at position groups heading into things like voluntary work and ultimately training camp?
Well, the thing that is 100% true is that talent acquisition is a constant in the National Football League. I mean, there's a big show which we just gotten through with, but the talent acquisition part of the National Football League never stops. It never, ever, ever stops. And with it never stopping, then it's ongoing all the time. I mean, all of these UDFAs that you try to get into your building after the draft is over with. There's a lot of thought that goes into that. Just like you've got your front board, your back board, and then you've got your sideboard where you've got these guys ranked, in priority as to how you would like to go get them in conjunction with what you're trying to fill out on your football team. You're trying to get 90 people in, but at the same time, you are trying to get numbers at positions to not only be competitive, but to be able to spread it out so that if not only injuries happen, but let's stay away from injuries happening. You just want to be able to give each position group enough people so that everybody can practice at an optimum level, and that's what you're trying to do. But that process never, ever, ever stops. It really doesn't, and there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. I mean, that has got as much intrigue to it, really, and nobody ever gets to see it as the actual draft itself, because you're still, and the thing about it is you're competing against everybody for these people. So a lot of those relationships with those types of players are started out, with the area scouts. I mean, there's a lot that goes. Everybody is involved in it. I mean, I'm sure when you asked Coach Callahan tonight, he was on the phone, to try to close a deal with some of these guys. I mean, all of these things, and it's not only the players, it's the representatives too, because rightfully so, the representatives are knowing they're trying to place guys where they think they will have an opportunity and they'll have a chance. And it's much more about it encompasses more about the money they're going to get, because the money they're going to get right now signing as an undrafted free agent is inconsequential as opposed to the chance that they will have to be able to legitimately make a squad or stick with a squad and then make more money in the future. It's pretty involved, but it's an ongoing process constantly.
It's fascinating. I love watching it from the outside, Mac. I can't imagine what it's like to be in the mix with an NFL organization at any level trying to put together the process of a roster and all these different things. We appreciate you stopping by. I know you're busy. I hope you have a safe flight and a great event here over the weekend, Mac, and thanks for making us smarter, buddy.
That's my pleasure. Have a lot of fun tonight. See you.
That's the main man, Coach Dave McGinnis, hanging out with us on 104.5 The Zone. Jet setter, Coach Mac. See, I knew he had plans. He's always got something going on. You tried to make me feel bad.
You should feel bad.
It's the only time I've made a mistake in my life.
I asked Coach Mag before he came on. I was like, hey, did Buck invite you to the install? He said, no, Buck didn't invite us. Well, the whole reason I took this thing in Chicago because I wasn't invited.
That's not true.
That's what he said.
He did not say that to you.
To me, he wouldn't do that to you on air because Coach Mack is a considerate person, but that is what he told me, verbatim, with an asterisk.
615-737-1045 is the number if you want to react to anything that you just heard from the great Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio. Like I said, his visits presented by Two Rivers Ford. Speaking of things that are great, you guys, so I'm going to be out of town next weekend next week when you guys do one of my favorite events of the year, which is the Buddy Allen Carpet Golf event.
Yes, but Lucas and I are very excited.
Do they know that they're just getting the two of you and not me?
No, they do not. But don't you tell them because I like making money.
I like.
So I will
like
dress
Zach
up
Allen.
as you.
I like Zach Allen and his lovely family more than I like the two of you grifting off of my name to go make money at an event that they probably don't want the two of you at without me. But Robert and Lucas are going to be out at the Hermitage Golf Course next week for the 9th annual Buddy Allen Carpet One Golf Tournament benefiting Tunnel to Towers. It's a great organization, a great cause, and a really cool thing that Buddy Allen Carpet One does each and every year. Over the past 8 years, Buddy Allen Carpet One has raised over $300,000 for Tunnel to Towers Foundation. For more information, visit 1045thezone.com/events and see how you can get involved. We'll take your phone calls. Coming up next, we've also got Pearl Jam tickets to give away. If you give us your Friday fire, give me a little positivity. I'm feeling good. I got a live show tonight. I'm ready to get it done and party afterwards. But give me your Friday fire. The best one will get a pair of tickets to Pearl Jam. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone.
Hey guys, it's Lucas. I want to tell you about a really cool event that's coming up Saturday, May 17th at Game Terminal. It's their 4th annual Beer Fest. Now, you may hear Beer Fest and think just beer, but it's much more than that. It's cider, alcohol tastings, over 20 vendors, over 35 tastings of beer, cider, and alcohol across that growing list of vendors. If you haven't been to Game Terminal, it is the arcade bar of all arcade bars. Check it out. Over 250 games spanning 40 years. Pinball to Pac-Man, Mario Kart, anything in between. Game Terminal has everything that you have ever wanted to play. Dig up some of that nostalgia from your childhood. Check it out. There is something for everyone. And there's an 8,000 square foot back patio where the Beer Fest festivities will be taking place. And the best part, all proceeds will go to Nashville Humane Society. It's a charity event. It's going to be so much fun. I'll be there. Can't wait. Grab your friends. Go to 1045thezone.com for tickets. $40 on sale now, $50 at the door. And I'll see you Saturday, May 17th for Beer Fest at Game Terminal.
Buck Rising is one of the least positive people on the planet. So to combat that, we've installed a new segment where he's forced to be positive. This is Friday Fire.
Because it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
It is one of our favorite segments of the week. A little bit of positivity. You had a hard work week. You had a stressful situation at home. Maybe you're upset about the fact that you paid $22 for a bottle of Fiji water today, like I am. You got to dwell on the positives, though. We're going to get a moment of positivity. Your Friday Fire, the thing that made your week, either personal, professional, sports, or otherwise. We'd be happy to have your submissions. The best submission, get 2 tickets to Pearl Jam. That's a great prize. Now, I'm not a Pearl Jam person, but the Pearl Jam people, they are strong. They are many. So just because I'm not, Eddie Vedder, very talented. Pearl Jam, very good band.
What's your favorite Pearl Jam song?
I couldn't possibly name a song.
You know what mine is?
What?
Even flow.
Yes,
That's
one.
mine.
They all sound to me like that. It's like Dave Matthews. Hell of an entertainer. Like the sound. All of his songs sound like he's just playing the same song for 3 straight hours at his concert. Like, I do not differentiate. I could not name a Dave Matthews song. They all sound the same to me.
But we are not being very positive. I will start off the proceedings with being very positive. Yesterday,
I have mine. I'm ready.
I heard a conversation on the morning show that delighted me. I was ecstatic hearing this conversation because it means they learned nothing about animals from my time with them, and they still have some things to learn. Yesterday, Will was discussing with Kayla about the opportunity of the Utah Hockey Club changing their names to the Mammoths, and they were a little confused as to what a mammoth could be.
So can we describe what the mammoth, like what that will be? Like what will be?
Like what's a mammoth?
Well, I mean, I know what a mammoth is. It's like an old, like, what do we call it?
It's like a hippo kind of situation. Like a big
what's
tusk.
the connection just with Utah
prehistoric
being
animal.
like
A big tusked hippo
What?
is apparently what Will thinks a mammoth is.
So Will Bowling is of above average intelligence.
I would say both of them. Both of Kayla and Will, both very smart.
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't a shot at Kayla. or
No,
anything
sure.
like that.
I got where you were. I just wanted to stop anyone else from saying.
Okay, very good. Yes, they are both highly intelligent individuals. Has Will never seen Ice Age? What is he? What does he think Ray Romano's character is? What do you think Manny is? Is it a hippo?
It's funny you bring that up, Justin.
It's a hippo with tusks?
Justin, if
What?
you're not familiar, Justin did a fantastic job watching editing the zoo video.
Yes,
You
he
can watch
did.
it right now on the Zone's YouTube page. Over 1,000 views.
And 555 of them are all Robert Walsh
That's
streaming at
true.
home on multiple devices.
That's also my Friday Fire.
Correct.
Justin brought that up. Like, have you seen Ice Age? I thought that was funny. I thought that was really funny yesterday. That gave me a good tickle about a hippo with tusks.
I just don't understand.
Well done. Well done, guys.
It is pretty good. My Friday Fire is Knicks fans. When Knicks fans have reason to celebrate, there are few better places and few more fun things to witness from afar, especially the way that Jalen Brunson won that series last night to advance to the second round of the NBA playoffs. I was low-key rooting for the Pistons because the Pistons are a good story. Would have been cool to see Detroit have success, not just in football this year. It's a great sports city, but in basketball as well, especially given how long the Pistons' playoff win drought had been, both on the road or just generally playoff wins and at home too. But Jalen, did you watch this game last night?
I did not.
Did you see this shot if you did not watch
I
this
saw the
game?
game winner, yes.
The way he crossed this man over. I don't know who the defender is in front of him. I didn't happen to pay attention. All I know is that man broke his ankle as Jalen Brunson crosses him over, takes the shot, nails the shot, sends kisses to the crowd. Knicks fans go crazy. They're in Detroit. You got ASAP Rocky in the streets of New York playing pickup hoops with Knicks fans because he's so happy. It's just a very joyous scene. New York, not a very joyous place. Not a very happy place. Not a very positive place. But anytime you can get the city of New York to unite together, enjoy, it's almost always because of sports. They really don't care about anything else that way.
I'm in trouble.
Why? What happened?
Will Bowling is called in.
Oh.
Will would like to defend himself.
What
Will.
is Ray Romano's character in Ice Age? Tell me now. Is it an elephant or is it a hippo?
Well, look, here's the thing. Like, if you put hair on a hippo, it would kind of look like a mammoth. Like, it's woolly. I didn't say that the hippo was woolly. I'm just saying a big, four-legged creature that roams the earth, is tall, is hungry, and has the opportunity to I don't know, just scavenge, just roam around, just parade around the ice. I don't know, like hippo wasn't that bad of an argument. These things aren't real anymore for a reason. There's no other way to describe it. It's a big four-legged creature.
Oh, that's wrong what you did to him.
I didn't want to do it. You made me do
music
it.
On him?
You made me do it.
It wasn't even a full minute.
You said hit him.
Shame on you.
Don't do this.
Shame on you.
Don't do this. You said hit him with the music.
Disrespecting your colleague that way.
I
your
wouldn't disrespect Will Bowling.
You just did. You can fade him back up. You have the power to stop this.
Hello?
Are you still there?
That's unbelievable, the fact that you can do that. And I'm over here talking, having a full conversation with you, and no one in the Nashville airwaves heard me. That's unbelievable what you've done to me. Look, you should be fading down the music and fading down NBA talk in Nashville, Tennessee, first of all. I'm saving your listeners from Buckshot on professional basketball.
Oh, unfortunately, there's the Oscars music again. I have no control over the situation.
I didn't do this. I didn't choose this.
Shameful. Shameful. Thank you for the call, Will.
You're so wrong for that.
I have no control over it. If I told you to jump off the pedestrian bridge, would you do it?
Are there cameras?
All right, for the opportunity to win some Pearl Jam tickets. What's your Friday fire? And don't lie to us either, like that one guy. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's start with Chris in Nashville.
Hey, guys. Y'all are hilarious, by the way.
No, we're stupid, but I appreciate the compliment.
Actually, my son. No, it's just that last little bit. But my son was a pitcher in the SEC, a Friday night starter, and actually had to have he tore his UCL and had to have Tommy John surgery. And that was during his draft year, but he still ended up getting drafted. He got drafted in the 12th round by the Red Sox. And this week he got bumped up to Double-A, and last night made his debut. And in his debut, he went 5 2/3 innings, 10 strikeouts, 1 run, and just really controlled the game. It was really impressive, and I know he's worked really hard to get there. So he's my Friday fire.
Awesome. Very cool, Chris. And congratulations to you and your family and your son in particular. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those tickets. That's got to be an awesome feeling as a parent, especially to see your kid. I mean, that's got to be heartbreaking on the front end. And then to see him battle back and work his way up and get opportunity after opportunity or earn opportunity after opportunity. We love that. All right. Very happy for you. Andrew is in Mount Juliet next.
Buck, how you doing?
Good.
So, you said you wanted some positivity. This is for everybody out there trying to get clean and sober, man. I hit 120 days yesterday.
Awesome.
I'll be 37 in August, and this is the longest I've gone since I was 17, so I'm pretty proud of that. And I was going to say, in this process, I've also lost about 60 pounds, and yesterday I went and played the first pickup basketball game I've played in about 10 years and put up a massive 6 points.
Well done. Listen.
For all of you out there, if I can do it, you can do it.
Any progress matters. Well done by you, Andrew. We're very happy to hear about that personal growth. That's not an easy thing to do. And, much less to play pickup basketball. When's the last time you played pickup basketball?
I play all the time, man, down there. They know me. They know me down there.
They know it down
Every
where?
time they see me coming, they're like, there's our shooter. There's a shooter on the roof.
Okay, let's not do that on the radio.
What? Come on.
Do you know this show's history?
Shut up.
Stop it.
All right, Blue. Blue in Nashville has a Friday fire. What's going on?
Save us, Blue.
How's it going, fellas?
Wait. Do I know this Blue?
No, this is a different Blue.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of Blues around town.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you know, our Lucas is out of the country. And I am that Blue because you both know he cooks just about all of my meals.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's getting a lot of clout for it these days. The only complaints I have about it, I'm very grateful, but it is 95% pasta, so, after 4 days of that, it gets to be a lot. But finally, at 30 years old, I have learned how to cook while he's gone. I am on my 4th day of cooking my own meals.
What did you make?
We got garlic chicken pasta covered in a tomatillo avocado salsa.
Ooh.
I didn't even know what a tomatillo or a shallot was before Tuesday this week. We got some pita pockets filled with sweet potatoes, more avocados in there. And I forget my other meal.
All right.
But I'm pork chops tonight. Pork chops tonight.
Pork chops tonight. Tired of pasta, so makes himself some pasta. Well done by Blue. Thank you for the call, brother. All right. Between Chris and Blue.
I'm going to vote Blue.
I have 2 votes, and I vote Chris.
Oh, come on. No, don't do that. Come on. We got to go. What do you mean?
Congratulations to Chris. He's going to see Pearl Jam. Yeah, my vote counts for 2.
Right.
If we had a board, if this was a company and we had board seats, I have 2 board seats. You and Lucas have 1. You ever watch Silicon Valley? I just voted you out of your own company.
Sorry, Blue.
Congratulations, Chris. Robert will be in contact with you shortly to award you the tickets. I love that Blue, a 30-year-old man, is still dependent on Lucas, another 30-year-old man, because they've lived together their entire lives. And they are so dependent upon one another that Megan can live in a completely different state, Lucas's fiance, and Lucas not really seem to miss her at all because he's got wife number 2 at home in Blue, who I guess Lucas is the domesticated one in that situation.
Well, see, Blue is the one that provides the fun to the relationship. Lucas is the boring, read a book, make dinner. Blue is the one who is the sporadic. He wants to go out, have a crazy date night. He's the one that keeps the romance fresh.
All right, so that's Friday Fire. We appreciate your participation. Call in every Friday at 11:45, and we will always have cool prizes and opportunities. What's going on back there? What am I hearing? Am I getting the music?
Yeah, coming up.
No.
Going to be talking about all kind of stuff.
Not to me.
And we'll do it next on the Buck Rising Show.
That was so wrong what you did to me. Again, I had no control over it, which means you did that to Will, not me. If you want somebody to help you with your finances and with your financial management plan or your retirement planning or your investment portfolio, Trajan Wealth is an awesome resource, and they are there to keep you on track and to walk you through all the different things that may be overwhelming or seem too much for you to handle if finances aren't necessarily your bag. You want to make sure that you're being aware and astute with your retirement goals in particular, because there are so many different things that go into planning for retirement. It's more than simply calculating your expenses, and Trajan Wealth understands that. They're going to help you design a strategy based on realistic options that align with your goals and your circumstances. So call Trajan Wealth today, because if you're interested in wealth management that's designed to protect, maintain, and expand your financial portfolio and make sure that you are protected into the future, Trajan Wealth offers you that exact opportunity. They got 2 locations here in Middle Tennessee, Brentwood and Franklin. Give them a call today at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000. Visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement.
What's going on, you bunch of heathens and hoodlums? It is noon. Time for y'all to go to 104.5 The Zone and check out and see if you can even check out and get a daggum install ticket. That is neither here nor there.
Five more tickets, and it's a sellout, kids. And Bert has to ask Brian Callahan questions in a moo-moo.
You're not doing this right now in the middle of my daggum update.
Better hurry up then.
Okay, if you missed it today, we have a little bit of news from Brian Callahan, who spoke to the media yesterday about how quarterback reps would be split between Will Levis and Cam Ward.
Yeah, they'll have plenty of opportunities. How those reps get shaken out will sort of be determined by how they perform when given opportunities. That part of it's been thought out. We have a plan in place, and what that looks like is going to ultimately be sort of up to them, and how their performance goes when there's time to perform. So, feel good about the process and the plan in place, and there's going to be plenty of reps for those guys to compete and get better and improve and be ready to play in September.
Like Buck just told you. 5 tickets left to go to the install tonight at the Analog Room at the Hutton Hotel, where you can see Greg Cosell and head coach Brian Callahan live and in person break down your entire Titans draft class. You need to be there. Go get your tickets now on 1045thezone.com. Titans rookie numbers were also assigned yesterday. Cam Ward obviously wearing number 1, Femi Oladejo in 53, and Kevin Winston Jr. in 23. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. You're home for the Titans and the Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Okay, final hour is upon us. Like I said during Robert's poorly read update, only 5 tickets remain for the install tonight. You can run real fast to 1045thezone.com, pick them up. Suppose you could test your luck, see if you could get them at the door, but I don't want to do that to you. I don't want you waiting in line without a ticket in hand, because we are expecting a 3rd straight sellout. Cosell in town, Brian Callahan in the house. It's going to be a great time had by all. We raise a little money for a good cause in Home Street Home. Can't wait. One of my favorite nights of the year, especially because I get to get drunk afterwards. That's my favorite part of that.
My favorite, because I can get drunk during.
Suppose I could, too. we could test the limits.
Nope.
See how far I can make it.
You're a working man.
Perpetually. That's the problem. But, we'll see if we can't keep me away from the Milagro tequila in the green room throughout the course of the show. Anyway, 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to jump in. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. The FNM Bank chat off and rolling if you would like to make yourself known there. We have a lot of people commenting specifically on YouTube today. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the Zone YouTube channel while you're there. We have news-ish. So Warren Moon was in town a week ago today to award Cam Ward the number 1 jersey. What? No. That's not what this is.
A little bit of breaking news from Kay Adams.
No.
Per Warren Moon, Titans getting some new uniforms. Didn't mean to interrupt whatever the hell you were talking about there, but we got to let the Titans fans know. Back to your regular scheduled program.
Piss me off. All right. You want to play this Kay Adams Warren Moon clip?
I'd love that.
Okay. Let's hear from Warren Moon, franchise legend, on with Kay Adams at the Kentucky Derby, looks like.
You said the line again, but last week you said your Houston Oilers jersey will probably never be worn again. You know what people think then, that there's a redesign coming?
Well, probably because I never say never about anything. In this world we live in now, you can't say never about anything, but because if I did say never and it did happen, people are going to say,
But Warren, fans think new uniforms are coming. As someone who is very well dressed and plugged into the organization as one is.
The Tennessee Titans have new uniforms coming, a whole new set. And I've seen glimpses of them, but it's not the Houston Oilers jersey.
I understand. What do these Titans unis look like?
Pretty good.
Are they clean? Are they like futuristic? Give us something.
They fit with the times, but they're also a little futuristic. So they will advance with the times. We'll put it that way.
Death taxes, Kay drinking too many mint juleps, and Warren Moon breaking news on Titans uniforms. Amy's got to hate me. Miss Strunks, we love you. Sorry, we keep trying to breaking news here.
Well, it's not, because he told us that last week. Told us that on Friday.
No, you heard the breaking news sounder. It was breaking news.
He literally said the same thing to all of us in a scrum. I'm pretty sure, because we gave Sam Phelan a bunch of crap about it, because Sam tweeted it out like Warren Moon told me exclusively that the Titans are getting new uniforms, when there's 40 of us standing around Warren Moon listening to him talk about the new uniforms.
Now I want a mint julep.
Mint juleps are delightful. Can you make them with tequila? That probably wouldn't be. I don't know. I didn't think espresso martinis with tequila were going to be good, and
But
now
they
that's all
were
I drink.
ecstatic. I will say we can try it tonight. We could try a mint julep with Milagro tequila.
Okay, you can get back there and bartend. Perhaps we'll put you behind the bar tonight to keep you from getting into trouble.
Only if they tip me out.
Yeah, so they're never going to wear the Houston Oilers uniforms again? Is that what we're hearing? Was that the trade-off? I mean, I guess we talked about that. They said, Warren, this kid really wants to wear number 1. He said, yeah, but I don't want one in an Oilers uniform to ever be worn again. They said, okay, we'll take away the Oilers uniforms. I feel like I don't love that trade. Like, I'd rather see Cam Ward in a number 7 Oilers uniform than have him wear one in these, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a problem with their current uniforms. I don't love the blue that they went back to, the light blue that they're going back to as their primary home uniform color. I think the navy looks better, but that's just me nitpicking. They just got new uniforms. What was Vrabel's first year? 18? They just got new uniforms. They need more new uniforms?
That was a long time ago.
18?
8 years? 8 years is a long time. Enough time for a kid to go to kindergarten, learn how to color, learn how to not how to drink through a sippy cup anymore, not sit in a car seat.
I guess that's true. That's like the Browns changing the tone of brown that they use in the Browns uniforms. They do that like every 3 years or something.
Changing the dog, too.
Something stupid.
Do you think, and this is not for me, I'm just asking this question, if I was a Titans fan, do you think they would ever change that logo or update that logo?
Oh, the flaming thumbtack? I hope so. It's one of the worst in the league. I think the Titans logo is so ugly.
Like, I've seen so many people do mock-ups of, like, different types of logos that it could be honoring the Oilers, bringing the Oilers into the logo. It just seems like it's due for a redo. Like, I remember when I was in high school and they brought out the new Dolphins logo. I was like, that's ugly. And now it's the Dolphins logo. You know what I mean?
I would love for the flaming thumbtack to be gone. Like, I get what they're trying to do with the Tennessee TriStar thing. I don't know. It never really hit for me. Like, I almost like the sword logo, the alternate logo for them more than I like the flaming thumbtack.
Where the old Derrick is like the hilt of the sword.
Yes.
I also like that one.
Anything with the oil derrick involved. I mean, it's just they had the problem, it's not even like the flaming thumbtack's fault, okay? It's more that the Oilers uniforms are so sick that anything in comparison would look like crap after that. Like, it's so hard for you to put them in the baby blue, Oilers blue, white, red combos, and then toss them out there in, the kind of neon light blue with navy pants and the navy helmet. I don't know.
I also think that whenever they say, oh, we're never going to wear the Oilers uniforms again, similar to how they've done this offseason, I think they did everything this offseason correctly.
No, don't say that about them. They're a 3-14 football team. Most recently, let's not act like they've just saved themselves
when it comes
from
to
all
the
the wrong that they've done.
Pick. When it comes to the number 1 overall pick, they said all the right things. They said everything they were supposed to. We are interested in Cam Ward. We're interested in the process. Interested in open picks. They took leverage away from themselves at no point in the offseason discussing the number 1 pick. I think they're doing the same thing with this Oilers stuff. Because
also, go ahead.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. To be like, oh, we're never wearing them again. And then 10 years from now or whenever the next anniversary is, they're like, surprise, we're wearing the Oilers again. It gets everybody brought up because they were like, we're never going to see them again. Our favorite show got canceled. But now you get to see them again. I think they're doing this exact same thing. And it's the right thing to do.
Or maybe they bring them back in 27 or make the new uniforms official in 27 when they open. They're just trying to scrub all the bad that they've done off of this organization. New coach, new GM, new president of football ops, new uniform, new stadium. Please, anything to remove us from the stench that's been, the last year has been particularly bad. But okay, new uniforms. Warren Moon said it last week, but Kay Adams breaking the news. Also, stop being horny in the chat with the rest of the chat.
You're all getting
Stop.
bonked. You're all getting bonked.
Oh, you all?
What? Huh?
Is that a different Robert Walsh in the chat?
Hey. Somebody better bonk me then.
Bonk, go to break. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. I love a little Paramore. Get me going on a Friday. Makes me happy. So good. That's probably, I don't know. We've talked about the best concerts we've ever been to. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. We're going to get into an interesting topic that I think Bert and I are uniquely equipped to have. Whether it's worse, this was a question posed by Dan Orlovsky about a month ago on Twitter that I've been banking for a day when we're not necessarily a ton of news. But I thought Dan had an interesting perspective on it. Is it worse to overdraft a quarterback or overpay a quarterback? That's what we're going to talk about here in just a second. 615-737-1045 if you want to weigh in the meantime. It is also Kentucky Derby weekend. I know a lot of people are heading to Louisville. It's a great time. Hopefully the weather holds up. That's a tough place to be if the weather is not ideal. Have you ever been in the infield for any kind of race, NASCAR, horse race, anything like that? You strike me as an infield person.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of infields for NASCAR before, but never like a horse race or anything like that.
I have done it for the Indy 500. The infield is massive because it's 100. I think the Indy 500 track seats 100,000 plus. It's crazy. There's a golf course in the infield. There's a concert venue in the infield. And so I've been to the Snake Pit a couple of times at the Indy 500. Never seen a car at the Indy 500, but seen plenty of concerts at the Indy 500. That's neither here nor there. It is Derby weekend, though, and I told you it was a finable offense for me to tell you that my cousin has a horse in the race. I don't remember the horse's name off the top of my head. I probably need to get my bets in right now. I need to go back through and look at my text to make sure the horse's name. Yeah, I don't know the horse's name. I'll pull that up in just a second. But I'll take Joe in Bowling Green while I look up this horse's name. Hey, Joe.
How you doing, guys? Yeah, I've been to the Derby infield. This is how old I am. That's when Nixon was there. We had a group moon from the infield.
That's pretty iconic, though. Well done by you, Joe.
Yeah. You went to school in Bloomington. Did you get to the Derby? I got some other questions, too. Did you get to the Derby? Have you ever been to Keeneland? They just wrapped up their meet last Friday. And have you ever done the Bourbon Trail in Kentucky? I think they're up to 19 or 20 bourbon distilleries. Have you or Bert ever done any one of those things?
Thank you very much for the call, Joe. We appreciate you listening.
I have been still from bourbon, but I ain't never been to a distillery for it.
You and Cheyenne actually should do the bourbon tour.
Oh yeah,
I've had family do it. I'm not a dark liquor drinker.
Yeah, it makes me mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already mean.
Yeah, I can only imagine you. But since we're talking about the Derby, we might as well play an impromptu game of horse or rock band.
Oh, no.
It's an easy game to play. All you've got to do is distinguish the name that I'm giving you. Is it a horse or a rock band?
Oh, we haven't done this in so long. I'm excited.
We'll start pretty easy on this one. Sunday Silence. Is Sunday Silence a horse or a rock band?
That's a rock band. I don't think there's any dispute. What do you mean? That's a horse?
That's a horse.
Great rock band name, though.
Next one, I'll Have Another. Buck will have another. Is that a horse or a rock band?
I will have another horse. That's a horse. Yes, 1 for 1.
1 and 1. 1 and 1. Street Sense. Is Street Sense a horse or a rock band?
That's a horse.
Dang it. Come on, buddy.
2-1. Let's go.
Last one here. No, we'll do a couple of these. Smarty Jones. Is Smarty Jones a racehorse or a rock band?
That one makes me want to overthink it and call it a rock band, but that's a horse. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Run up the score.
What are they putting all these in order for? California Chrome. California Chrome, a rock band or a horse?
That's a horse.
I need to shuffle these cards up. Civilian. Is Civilian a horse or a rock band?
It's a horse.
Yeah. That's a rock band.
Damn it.
All right, let's see if we can get you even here with the losses. Typhoon. Is Typhoon a horse or a rock band?
Both.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a rock band. All right, this is the last one. You'll love this one because it is fantastic.
For the tie break.
Buck, is You Fantastic a horse or a rock band? No, it's not. Let's see if we can get it wrong first.
You Fantastic is in the letter U?
No, Y-O-U.
Y-O-U
You
Fantastic.
Fantastic, exclamation mark. I agree.
It's a rock band.
Dang it.
Yeah.
You close out with a win.
I'm a winner. Love Horse and Rock Band. Been too long. All right, very good. So to answer his question before we get into this quarterback discussion, I have been to the Derby. The Derby horse my cousin owns is Flying Mohawk. Flying Mohawk qualified for the Derby, which is a huge milestone. So very happy for Flying Mohawk. Very happy for my cousin Jeff Barry, who has been very excited about this. Apparently, he's partners with Jason Worth on the horse. Very cool. Icon Racing, Flying Mohawk, cousin Jeff Barry, Jason Worth, trying to win the Derby this weekend. I don't know what the odds are going off. I'll probably put a little money on it just for the sake of support. That's fine. That's my money going on my cousin's racehorse. I'm very excited about that. All right. Have been to the Derby. Have been to Keeneland. I had a lot of friends go to Kentucky, even though I have a strong distaste for the University of Kentucky basketball team. Lexington is a fun place to visit, and Keeneland is a great time. Great time had by all. 10 out of 10 recommend. All right. Now to the quarterback conversation that we are getting ready to have. Is it worse to overdraft a quarterback or overpay a quarterback? Titans have examples of both. Though there have been far more, well, I guess, I don't know. When you go back through the history of Titans drafted quarterbacks, like let's just make it Titans era. McNair was technically drafted as an Oiler. So everybody that's come since Steve as a Titans quarterback, was Jake Locker overdrafted? I don't think so at the time. He didn't work out. He retired. He was, apparently he's off in the Pacific Northwest somewhere running a gym and hunting, because that's what Jake Locker likes to do. That's all well and good. But I don't think that the Titans, Marcus Mariota wasn't overdrafted as the second overall pick. Cam Ward, obviously, way too soon to have any kind of conversation. But even him, I have been since February on the position that Cam Ward is worthy of the number one overall draft pick. So it would be tough for me to have a different conversation around Cam Ward than the conversation I've been having since Combine around Cam Ward.
So around overdrafting, how would we define overdrafting? Would that
if
be
Shedeur Sanders had been drafted second overall by the Cleveland Browns versus in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns, obviously Shedeur would have been overdrafted.
Okay, so in Trey Lance's position, would we say in the moment it seemed like he should have went number 3?
Overdrafted.
But he was overdrafted.
I got why they did it. I didn't like that they traded as much as they did to get up there, though I understood that that was the cost to trade up for a quarterback, especially if you're the Niners coming up from the teens.
Yeah, they were in the low teens, came up once with the Dolphins, and then again to get in the number 3 spot.
I am looking at, in particular, Shedeur is an entry point into this conversation, but I think Dylan Gabriel got overdrafted. Dylan Gabriel's a 3rd-round pick is nuts. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. With all due respect to a player who has earned the right to be drafted and was celebrated as a day 2 draft pick and deserved that praise, and seeing the fruition of his hard work and his extended college career finally result in him being drafted by an NFL organization, but he's like 5'10". I mean, he's a little fella out there running around, respectfully. I know 5'10" is 5'10" like average male height? What is average male height?
For the world or for the United States?
Let's just take the United States, for example. Certainly the average quarterback height would be 6+, I would imagine. Although there's a bunch of Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young's running around out there now. I don't know.
So the average height in the United States is 5'9".
No.
While the average height for women.
That's so small. 5'9"?
That makes the U.S. the 40th tallest nation in the world.
That is diminutive. 5'9". How tall are you? You're at least
5'11" and 11/12.
Okay, so you're 5'10".
I'm 6. No,
Yeah,
shut up. I should be 6.
How much taller am I than you? I'm 6'2".
You're probably about 3 inches taller than me.
Yeah, okay, 5'10".
No, dang it. Didn't do the math. Talk too quick.
So Dixie says if you count the world, it's like 5'8". That's so short to all you short kings out there. I guess that's not technically a short king if you're average, but anyway. Overdrafting a quarterback versus overpaying a quarterback. What's the worst example of overpaying a quarterback in your lifetime?
Deshaun Watson.
Yes. By a mile. But I will tell you that we are doing those results after the fact.
True.
In real time, the trade for Deshaun. Now, Deshaun obviously had a lot of stuff swirling around him, all those civil suits, the sexual assault and the massage situation and the NDAs from the Texans and all this stuff swirling around him. But if I'm not mistaken, he was still under 30 at the time of that trade. He had been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL to that point. They had given up a commensurate trade package for a player who we have seen be good, have seen be above average. I've seen Deshaun Watson play for the Texans a bunch of times against the Titans in my career covering Tennessee. I thought Deshaun Watson to be a top 5, top 6 player at the position without a thought in mind, despite being a terrible human being. And then he gets to Cleveland, and he's not that. Now, the fully guaranteed contract is where I'm willing to reopen the discussion, because fully guaranteed in the NFL is an accident waiting to happen. So at the time, you could still argue that it was an overpay because he got all of that money, a lot of that money, the vast majority of that money up front before he had played a snap for the Browns organization.
To go along with a wheelbarrow full of high-end picks.
Yes.
Which is, in that part of it, if they were able to get him for 1 first and 1 second, the contract would still look bad, but the acquisition cost wouldn't look so terrible. And you're trading for a quarterback. Hell, Sam Bradford, after he hadn't done nothing in the league for like 8 years, still got traded for a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't poo-poo the trade in retrospect if it wasn't that much stuff. So I'm unsure how you want to do this. So let me tell you how I feel about the trade overdraft versus overpay. I feel like you can always overcome bad draft picks, but it is very hard to overcome overpaying for a quarterback. Similar to the situation Cleveland's in, you can overcome it, but it requires investing more draft picks into the position to try to remedy it. For example, when the Seahawks signed Matt Flynn to a huge contract, and
at the time, in retrospect,
right, it wasn't
pennies,
that much money.
But yeah,
but signed a relatively underwhelming quarterback who, in relief of Aaron Rodgers, had an incredible game the prior season, and that's pretty much what got him signed. They would have been tied to him for, I believe, 3 years with an overpay, but because they were lucky enough to draft Russell Wilson, they were able to overcome overpaying for a quarterback. Situations like that are far and few between. To go back to the San Francisco case, they were able to overcome overdrafting Trey Lance at 3 because they were lucky enough to find Brock Purdy later in the draft. I think through drafting, you can overcome either one of those, but in drafting or overdrafting, you can put yourself in purgatory because you are tied to a quarterback for too long. Similar to the Miami Dolphins. They held on to Tua for long enough, and he proved enough that he could potentially be the guy. Trevor Lawrence as well. You have to pay them to keep them in town, or else someone else will pay them because quarterback is the most important commodity in the NFL.
Yeah, because if you're the Jags or the Dolphins, what else are you going to do?
But you're
going to run out there with Zach Wilson?
Right. In keeping them, you tie yourself to purgatory. You'll never be good enough to win your division. You'll never be good enough to go on a deep playoff run, but you'll also never be bad enough to have a high pick, to draft a quarterback, to fix yourself again. This is kind of the position the Steelers are in. Never bad enough to have a top 10 pick, but never good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Think about the Colts right now. Colts overdrafted AR, right? We can all agree.
100%.
Colts overdrafted Anthony Richardson. Now they've hedged their bets a little bit because Daniel Jones, a former first-round pick himself, is looking for career rehab, escapes the clutches of the New York media market to go to a much more passable place or pacified place in Indianapolis, and is going to give himself the opportunity to play for a coach who I believe is good at his job in Shane Steichen. They have despite spending the number 1 overall pick on Anthony Richardson, they have given themselves an out while still having Anthony Richardson. Because while Daniel Jones may not be anybody's savior or anything like that, they've at least given themselves something that they know, that they believe that they can work with, that can be relied upon more, even though Daniel Jones is hardly the model of consistency. You probably trust Daniel Jones more than you do Anthony Richardson right now, especially given what AR's last year was.
And you could argue Anthony Richardson did them a favor in not being available enough or healthy enough to play enough games to keep them teeter-tottering. Is he, isn't he? And now he had you on the isn't he long enough that you brought in an incumbent to try to take him, to unseat him from being your starting quarterback. And you don't have to, you did all this before having to pick up his fifth-year option. So I think the Colts are an example of being able to overcome, being in a position to overcome overdrafting a quarterback.
Because overpaying is the cardinal sin. Think about the hell that the Titans just emerged from, all right? I don't think Ryan Tannehill was an overpay. But Ryan Tannehill's cap hit after you moved money around to acquire Julio Jones became an anchor around your neck to where you had to see the life of the contract through, even though moving money around on Tannehill, I got what John Robinson was trying to do. And they ultimately did end up being the number 1 overall seed, even though they choked like dogs against the Bengals at Nissan Stadium in 2021. Ryan Tannehill wasn't an overpay, but the implications of what you did with the money after that on Ryan Tannehill's remaining contract made it so hard for you to get out from under. Especially when you drafted as poorly as you did, because there's reasons to believe that the Titans in 2022 or 2023 with Tannehill still on the roster could have maintained the level if John Robinson hadn't cratered them with his drafting and trading habits.
But all that to say, unless you had another point you wanted to make.
Well, just the best example that I have, and it seems funny now because the money is so much. I mean, this is less than 10 years ago. This is 9 years ago when the Houston Texans gave Brock Osweiler a $72 million deal, 4-year, $72 million deal, having never met him. They didn't meet him. I remember Bill O'Brien, because we used to still do conference calls with opposing coaches every week at the time, and I remember that being a thing about Bill O'Brien, and then Karski pissed Bill O'Brien off on our conference call, and then Tehran pissed Bill O'Brien off on our conference call, and we never had conference calls with opposing coaches after that. I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying that Bill O'Brien was not the easiest person to have a conference call with.
Brock Osweiler, that contract was so bad that they had to trade away a second-round pick for the Cleveland Browns to take on his contract. It was so bad that they had to pay someone a draft pick to take money off their books. Mm-hmm. That's how bad he was.
He's the first example of an NFL salary dump that I could think of. So Cleveland sent the 142nd pick, the 188th pick, and a 2018 second rounder, which is still crazy that the Texans got a future second rounder plus 2 picks for Brock Osweiler for as badly as that went. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning. And you can also throw Tom Brady in there, even though Jimmy G was actually a decent quarterback. But the best quarterbacks of all time, if they have a rookie quarterback behind them, they will get paid. They will get paid because they sat behind him, and all 3 of those quarterbacks are examples of that.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation if you would like to. Travis is calling us from Denver, where it's a little earlier out there. Hey, Travis.
What's up, Buck? So I've got a friend who knows Helm, the tight end that we just drafted, and he was at his draft party. He said that the Titans never reached out to him, never called him, never talked to him. So what's up with these 30 for 30 visits? What's the deal?
What do you mean?
I mean, if they're that important, why pick a tight end? Why pick a player you've never talked to?
Oh, that happens all the time. He told us that in his Zoom call. That's not uncommon. Is he still there?
All the time.
Say it again. I'm sorry. You're faded down, Travis. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm still here. I just wanted to know, what's the point of the 30 for 30 visits if you're going to pick a player that you're not even talking to or never reached out to? I guess if the personality, if the person is this important, like Chad always says, how do you know if you don't talk to the guy?
You do your research around him. It's not that difficult. I appreciate the call, though. They use 30 visits to vet guys all the time. And they may come away from a 30 visit not liking the personality that they met with. And then they say, okay, that's fine. And then Gunnar Helm, who's who trains locally, who has enough people around him locally that are well within the Titans' grasp to reach out to him and be like, hey, what's this guy like? Hey, let me talk to Steve Sarkisian. It's not like they just drafted Gunnar Helm sight unseen. They knew about the player. There was probably enough there on the player that they didn't feel that they had to, I don't want to say waste, and they're not documentaries, by the way. It's not 30 for 30 visit. It is a 30 visit.
As I understand it, 30 visits are to gain information about guys you have more questions on.
Correct.
How is your rehab coming from this injury? Can you talk to us more about this incident that happened at this bar downtown? How about your teammate? How does your teammate prepare? Sometimes they'll meet with guys just to gain information about other people. Hey, what was it like over here? How did you guys do practice? Anytime you do those things, and similar to coaching interviews, sometimes you'll see teams bring in guys for coaching interviews, and you're like, they're never going to give that guy an opportunity. Why the hell would they interview him? And it's to interview him about his preparation. All right, what do you do at practice? What does your practice run through look like? So they can see what everyone is doing, gain a better picture of, in the draft's case, the prospects or the prospects adjacent to them.
Yeah, that just means that Gunnar Helm was a cleaner evaluation than a lot of these other guys. I don't know if Shamar Stewart made a 30 visit here. I don't think he did. But, let's just use him as a hypothetical. All right, so say the Titans bring Shamar Stewart in for a 30 visit. He got drafted by the Bengals in the first round. He's a pass rusher out of Texas A&M. He has all the physical tools in the world that you want, but his production sucked. So you want to learn more about him. Does he have problems with effort? Does he have an attitude? Is he tough to coach? There's a bunch of different questions that you have to answer about Shamar Stewart. So you bring him in here. You get to know him. You spend a day with him. And then you get as many answers to those questions as you can, and you move on. If you feel good enough about Gunnar Helm, now you can get that wrong. You can screw this up. Again, it's not an exact science, but the point is you only have so many of these 30 visits. I mean, you have 30 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
As the name announced.
Yeah, as the name would connote.
But still a great question, Travis. I think that's a question.
No, I don't think it's a bad question at
100%.
all. No, I don't mean to. I hope I didn't sound dismissive.
That's your natural tone.
That's my tone. I can't do anything about my tone. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't want to.
I would say I'm excited to talk polls in a little bit, but
find out next. Last call for phone calls. Look at that. Got through a whole week. We didn't even need Lucas. How you holding up back there?
I miss him so
I know.
much.
I know. It's just so hard.
Come on, baby, please.
It's just so hard. He whispered to me as he was leaving, or as I was leaving, because I dipped out early of the last show that he did with us on Monday. Lucas will be back Monday, by the way.
Hopefully.
Or not. I kind of like this.
Maybe he doesn't step on an angelfish.
I did, because I walked in as the morning show was ending. There's 7,000 people in here. I'm like, I like having it to myself. Get out of here. I don't want any of you people in here. Keep it moving. So maybe I just lock the door and we'll never let him back in here.
No, that's
again.
not true.
No,
I need him. I need it.
I know. I understand. He whispered to me as I was leaving for Cam Ward's press conference before he left for vacation. Just be nice to him, talking about you.
He didn't say that.
He absolutely said be nice to you. And I said no.
He didn't say that.
Why would I do that? For what? What have you done to deserve me being nice to you? Correct.
That's tough. You're very much a what have you done for me lately guy, and I have not done much for you lately.
You haven't done bleep.
Haven't had to watch your cats. Haven't had to.
I am going out of town. I'm going to Hilton Head.
Dadgummit.
Yeah, so cat sitter, you're back on cat sitter watch.
Can't wait for them to all hiss at me and be upset with me.
That's fine.
Except for Leo. Love Leo.
Just stay out of my pantry this time.
But let's do some polls. Here we go. Poll time. Everybody ready for polls?
You want to? Yeah.
Polls brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the most trusted Ford dealer in all of the South. And that's it. There ain't no polls.
Yeah, I forgot.
Are you happy? You happy with yourself? You happy with yourself? Lucas isn't
I had a meeting. I had a meeting at 8:30 today, all right? I was busy.
What about the other hour and a half?
It wasn't enough. I planned the whole show. Yeah, you know.
What about the other parts of it?
Go ahead.
What would we have asked? What would your Friday fire
Didn't you
be?
write polls down?
I did.
Aren't there polls in the grid? You could have just done it that way and made up the results. Nobody would have known. You just had to make it difficult.
Yeah, I had to let people know that you are not the Johnny Do-Right that you act like you are. I can go through the fake polls, though.
The Johnny Do-Right?
Okay, Friday fire. What's your Friday fire? Karen comments and says, it's Robert. Robert's excellent. I would wish he would do more of this, but Lucas has to come back. Appreciate that, Karen. That is an exceptional comment on that right there. Which AFC South team had the best draft? Dave chimes in with, don't know who the best AFC South team is, but Bert is exceptional.
No, they're all bad.
What are you most excited to learn about at the Titans draft class at the install tonight? What's a funny name? Give me a funny name really quick.
Alec Iamaner.
Alec chimes in saying,
"Oh, I thought you meant
I don't mind don't mind what happens at the install tonight. I just can't wait to meet Bert." And it what's worse?
You're not going. Don't you have something to do now?
I'm going.
Aren't you preoccupied?
Nope.
Didn't you just spend the first hour running around trying to reschedule things because you've been thrust into the fire on something that is completely not your responsibility?
We're going to make it work.
Okay.
What's worse, overdrafting a quarterback or paying? Oscar says, don't care. Doesn't really matter to me as long as Bert's there. And who will be offensive rookie of the year? Who will be defensive rookie of the year? My dad chimes in and says, who cares? Make Robert come back to North Carolina. I'm tired of mowing my yard. Those are the polls.
Oh, do you have to do chores when you go home?
My dad has a farm, not like a fake farm with a pasture and a couple cows in it. My dad has like 300 cows.
Don't come after me like that.
You should know. You should know.
Oh, I mean, why would you have been to my parents' place?
What, do they also have cows?
No, they have 25 acres, though.
You a big Hereford guy?
Well, my stepdad made a pasture because he did at one time have cattle and horses, but now it's just a big empty pasture.
You don't do nothing with it?
I mean, he's got bees. He keeps bees now.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. See, what you could do, what I try to convince my dad to do, is to sell some of his pasture off so you can cut it for hay, or sell it to people to cut for hay, or grow timber on it, or put solar panels on it. But he don't want to do none of my ideas. He would rather me just listen and follow. So I am a yes sir, daddy kind of guy when I'm home.
My parents don't ask me to do anything when I'm home.
Oh, that's good.
They make you know what's worse? My little sister, who's a senior in college, they have chores and responsibilities and duties assigned to her, and I just get to sit back. I get to kick my feet up. I get to because I never come home. I never show up, so they try not to run me off by putting a lawnmower in my hand or something like that. Like I would ever do that anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you would literally pay the neighbor to do it. Like, hey, here you go. Gas is in the tank, buddy.
All right, very good.
Less than 5 tickets. Less than 5 tickets.
There's
to
still
go.
tickets?
Last update I heard, they would not give me an accurate count other than less than 5. Less than 5 tickets available for the install tonight at the Hutton Hotel at the Analog Room. Come see Greg Cosell, me, break down all kinds of film, break down the Titans draft class. Bucket even going to correct me that I'm not going to be the one breaking down film. Titans head coach Brian Callahan is going to be breaking down the film. You need to be there and watch me in a muumuu, because if y'all don't sell it out, I ain't wearing a muumuu.
You're wearing the muumuu.
I'm
anyway.
not. Yeah. I'm not. I ain't doing it.
You don't have a choice.
You ain't working the door. I'm going to tell them I know somebody. They're just going to let me in.
Yeah, the person that you know is me. That's the only.
Greg.
Yeah, okay. Greg going to remember you from that one time you were harassing him about Ravens draft picks at Titans training camp.
And I'm going to do it again this year. And can't nobody stop me.
Literally me. It's me. I can stop you. I am capable of stopping you. I will stop you at every turn. Nothing makes me happier than to thwart your hopes and dreams. That's a good way to end the Friday.
But if you missed it, don't be complaining and whining. I was going to get my tickets, but my mom, she was.
Oh, no, I don't care. If they don't have their tickets by now, I don't care anymore.
Yep.
Like, I don't want you there anyway. I'm doing a live show. Listen to me. All right. If you haven't got your damn tickets by now, you got a number 1 overall draft pick at quarterback. I've got your damn head coach coming in here to break down plays that he has specifically selected, and the executive producer of NFL Films flying in from Philadelphia to break this thing down for you. If you don't have your tickets by now, I don't want you there. But if there's 2 or 3 left and you want to get them at 1045thezone.com, maybe I'll give you some. Maybe I will give you some grace. All right. That's going to do it for us today. We appreciate you hanging out. Well, it's not going to do it for us today because we got 3 hours of Titans live show to do tonight with Brian Callahan, with Greg Cosell, with 250 you guys, and then an open bar that I am going to be at as soon as this live show ends. See you there.
Two Rivers Ford announces employee pricing for everyone. Every tradesman, every dad, every rising star. You pay what we pay. Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned. American made.